Coming up today, Korea and Vietnam officially ink their bilateral free trade agreement. The deal, Korea's 15th, will remove tariffs on the vast majority of products traded between the two countries. In a move that has infuriated Korea, UNESCO is reportedly seriously considering adding facilities in Japan that housed enslaved Korean laborers during World War II to its World Heritage List. Plus, US officials have reportedly identified the two men who are said to have attacked an event in Texas exhibiting cartoons of the Prophet Mohammed. Stay tuned for these stories and more. Hello to our viewers around the world. It's midday on Tuesday, May 5th here in Seoul. Thanks for joining us on this Children's Day here in Korea. I'm Mark Broome. Our top story this afternoon, Korea's free trade deal with Vietnam is a step closer to going into effect as officials from both countries signed the pact in Hanoi earlier today. Seoul's Trade Ministry says the FTA will remove tariffs on over 90% of import volume between the two countries. The agreement is expected to give Korean products a competitive edge as it will lift tariffs on Korea's major export items like electronics, cosmetics and automobiles over the next 10 years. With a population of over 90 million, Vietnam is the second biggest market in the ASEAN region. Now, talks on this FTA concluded in December last year after almost 2.5 years of negotiations. Now the two countries will work toward ratifying the bill, aiming to implement the pact before the year is out. South Korea's chief nuclear envoy has been meeting with his American counterpart to discuss restarting the long-stalled six-party talks on North Korea's denuclearization. Speaking to reporters in Washington on Monday, Hwang Jung-guk said he and Sung Kim would exchange views on the current situation on the Korean peninsula. Details of their meeting were not available as of now, but Seoul-based Yonhap news agency cited a U.S. State Department spokesperson as saying the two envoys agreed on the fundamental importance of pursuing a verifiable denuclearization of North Korea in a peaceful manner. Hwang is also scheduled to meet with the U.S. Treasury's Assistant Secretary for Terrorist Financing to discuss sanctions imposed on North Korea. He'll then travel to Beijing for related talks with his Chinese counterpart Wu Dawei on Wednesday. Japanese wartime facilities that housed enslaved laborers from Korea and other nations during World War II are on the verge of being added to the highly respected UNESCO World Heritage List. As you'd expect, the Korean government is deeply opposed to the move, condemning Japan for glorifying its history of aggression as an industrial revolution without any remorse for the victims who suffered there. Our Son Jung-in has more.
This is Hashima Island in Nagasaki, also known as Hell Island. The area is notorious as it's where some 800 Korean coal miners were forced to work during the colonial era. Around 120 of the laborers died from starvation or mistreatment. 5 kilometers away lies Takashima Island, where most of the 3,500 mobilized Koreans died in similar conditions. But now Japan is seeking to glorify these sites of historical aggression as key parts of its industrial revolution that helped the country's rapid modernization. The 23 places claimed by Japan as symbolic of its Meiji era were recently recommended by UNESCO's advisory committee to be registered as World Heritage Sites following Tokyo's push for their inscription. Among them, 11 sites, including Nagasaki Shipyard and Yahata Steelworks, are where tens of thousands of Koreans worked as slave laborers. The World Heritage Committee will likely decide to add the sites to the list when they hold a session in July, as a recommendation has never been rebutted in the final stage. Korea is strongly protesting the move. It says efforts to register the facilities as a World Heritage Site is clearly at odds with UNESCO's goal of honoring locations that have a universal value to humanity. The National Assembly's Foreign Affairs and Unification Committee passed a resolution on Monday condemning the Japanese government for its attempt to have the sites inscribed. It also demanded Japan offer a sincere apology. 손정인, Arirang News.
Now, Korea is also campaigning to add one of its own historical sites to that UNESCO World Heritage list. So will the country's southwestern region, home to one of its three ancient kingdoms, make the cut? Park Se-young has the details.
Kings and queens lay buried here in the ancient capital of the Baekje Kingdom. Along with the Goguryeo and Silla kingdoms, Baekje shared and fought over the Korean peninsula in the first millennium. Now, the Korean Cultural Heritage Administration says the Baekje historic areas are close to gaining UNESCO approval. According to the Korean agency, the International Council on Monuments and Sites evaluated the area and submitted a report recommending that it be inscribed on the World Cultural Heritage List. UNESCO's Advisory Council says the historic sites are evidence of the kingdom's critical role in the advancement of architecture through close relationships with ancient kingdoms in Japan and China. Baekje also played a fundamental role in transmitting Buddhism and cultural developments in East Asia. The council also noted that the site continues to be well preserved. If accepted, the Baekje historic areas would be Korea's 12th World Heritage Site. Park Se-young, Arirang News.
170 kids are celebrating Children's Day, a Korean national holiday, with President Park Geun-hye on this Tuesday. The elementary school students from across the nation, including remote island areas, were invited to the presidential office of Cheongwadae to listen to her message in person. President Park said children are Korea's hope and that it's important for young people to learn and experience as much as possible so they can do what they love when they grow up. And with that in mind, the kids got to try out jobs like being a news anchor, chef, firefighter, and scientist that Boo's set up in the garden. And today, Koreans are showing their appreciation for children, but who do the kids appreciate the most? Just before this holiday, an educational facility posed that question to thousands of elementary school students. Our Hwon Ji-hyun has the results.
Who do you appreciate the most? About 8 out of 10 children in Korea say it's their parents. That's according to a recent survey of nearly 23,000 elementary students conducted by home learning program Ice Cream. The survey showed that a whopping 81% of children said parents are the people they appreciate the most in their lives. Friends and others both came in second place at 7%, followed by teachers and family relatives. When asked why they appreciate their parents, about 28% said it's because of the comfort and sympathy they get from their mom and dad. Other reasons included kindness, encouragement, and unconditional love. So how do Korean children show their appreciation? A majority prefer to directly tell their parents at least once or twice a day, while others turn to physical affection, letters, and text messages. However, a program official pointed out that kids are often too shy to express themselves, stressing that parents must initiate more conversations with their children starting from when they're young. Hwon Ji-hyun, Arirang News.
And staying with the holiday theme, apart from taking their children to amusement parks, zoos or playing with them elsewhere, it's seen as a parent's obligation, really, to buy their kids a toy or two on Children's Day. And that's why marketing during this season is especially fierce. Our Gwon-swa reports.
There's one day in Korea when toys fly off the shelves, Children's Day. Toy sales jump more than 10 times higher than normal days.
By season, toys sell the most in the winter during Christmas week. But when it comes to sales made in a single day, Children's Day holds the record.
Demand is high for character toys that are also on TV. Currently, the most popular ones are Japanese characters, while Korean character toys make up around 20% of the market.
To help drive the spending frenzy, marketers are offering loads of promotions and discounts to get parents to pull out their wallets. And grandparents too. According to the online shopping mall auction, leading up to the holiday, toys purchased by customers aged 50 and above rose 70% compared to last year.
If only I could, I'd buy them everything. Go ahead and pick.
As there are a lot of families in which both parents work, more grandparents buy toys for their grandchildren instead.
Despite the massive spending, experts say marketers should expand their target group to boost steady sales.
Kiddles are increasing in Korea. The related market rakes in over $90 million annually.
Industry watchers say many nostalgic characters that appeal to older generations are still popular and ideal for toy companies to expand on if they want to try and capture the hearts of both the young and old at once. Kwon So-ah, Arirang News.
Now, authorities in the U.S. city of Dallas have identified the suspected gunman who targeted a competition to draw cartoons of the Prophet Mohammed. Citing officials, U.S. media has identified the gunman as 30-year-old Elton Simpson and his 34-year-old roommate Nadir Sufi. Those men, carrying assault rifles and wearing full body armor, opened fire outside the contest venue, shooting a security guard in the leg before being shot dead by an armed police officer. Now, officials think Simpson sent several tweets before the shooting, including one with the hashtag #TexasAttack. The organizer of the event, a well-known advocate of free speech in the US, said the incident reflected the need for such conferences. The UN's top official on refugees has stressed that saving the lives of African migrants attempting to make the dangerous journey across the Mediterranean is an ethical obligation for the international community. In an interview with Seoul-based Yonhap news agency on Tuesday, the UN's High Commissioner for Refugees, Antonio Guterres, urged members of the European Union to revise their immigration systems and streamline visa procedures so migrants are processed quickly and are allowed to stay in Europe. Guterres was speaking a matter of days after some 3,700 migrants from across northern Africa were rescued from boats near the coast of Libya. In the wake of some high-profile crashes, and most recently the German Wings suicide crash in the French Alps, international air safety watchdogs are expected to push for installing video cameras in cockpits. Industry officials, safety experts and others familiar with the issue told the Wall Street Journal that the aviation arm of the United Nations is expected to make a big push later this year for such changes. Pilot unions are deeply opposed to the move, however, due mostly to privacy concerns and the prospect of images being misused by crash investigators, prosecutors and even the media. However, the report says any decision will likely take years and its outcome is far from certain. On top of that, individual countries would still retain the ultimate enforcement authority. Back here in Korea, and the Korean military offers several ready-made meals, but they've long been criticized for lacking variety and for being rather bland. But there's some good news for the troops, as the military's top brass have decided to spruce up the menu. Na Hyung-yang reports.
In the U.S., military ration packs used to be called meals ready to expel instead of meals ready to eat. And things haven't been much different in Korea. The history of the Korean ration pack goes back to the 1960s, when Korea sent more than 300,000 troops to fight in the Vietnam War. Since then, the quality and variety of the meals have come a long way. Currently, the Korean Army has 4 types of ration packs for its soldiers, categorized by the way the meals are made.
The most popular type these days is this one right here. It has a flameless heater inside that will warm up the main dish without water or fire. All you need to do is pull this string right here, wait a few minutes, then voila, your food is ready to go.
But there's always room for improvement. For one, many servicemen point to a lack of variety in the meals. Although there are 11 main dishes right now, the soldiers say some of them are very similar to each other and there's really no option for vegetarians. But all that's about to change. The military says it's planning to expand the options by increasing the number of dishes to 36, including curry and Korea's iconic bibimbap. They will also bring in existing outdoor camping products that are more affordable than packs currently used in the military.
We plan to incorporate civil products so soldiers can use them immediately and also save the state budget by replacing the stockpiles.
The military will also lighten the weight of the packages. Officials hope these efforts will boost soldiers' morale and help them better protect the country. 나현경, Arirang News.
Well, that's all we have for now. I'm Mark Broome. If you're watching us in Korea, have a nice Children's Day off, and we do hope to see you at the same time tomorrow. Goodbye.